Hey guys, welcome back to Owl Nighter. And since you liked the taking notes video, I thought I'm gonna show you how to take notes from a textbook, and it's gonna be my organic chemistry book. Since I have a test on it, and it will be helpful to me as it is to you, and also because I want to show you, since on the note-taking skills I showed you for memorizing base classes as like social studies and English and maybe some math, some science classes, now I'm gonna give you a note-taking skill for science classes and very understanding or comprehend classes as science or chemistry. So let's get on to it. Now, just like the other video, I'm gonna draw my paper out because it's easier for you to see and for me to write on and show you how I do it. So here are the borders of the paper. And then I'm gonna open my textbook. Hold up. The first thing I do is read the bolded version. So in this case, it's not bolded, but it's another color, which is really nice. So I'll have another color. I will set two colors for my notes. Now in this case, I'm gonna use a red marker and a blue marker and a regular black marker. Now, I'm gonna set my key on the top. I usually do it between the first line and the border of the paper, if that makes sense. So my red marker would be vocab, and my blue one would be important notes, and so on and so forth. Now I will choose another color for my title that they bolded. So factors. This is not my original title. Affecting. I am not gonna write all of it because it's really long. Oop. Now on the paper I write all of it down, but on here, since it's just for an example, I'm not gonna write all of it. Now, most American textbooks will have their vocab bolded. They will have their vocab bolded. That's just a set rule of textbooks in here. So like this, can't find any other ones. Like this is a vocab where it's italicized and bolded, which is very helpful for us trying just to know the vocab. I swear there was more. Right here. You get the point. So I go through words here and I go through it all. That's all it is. That's all the section. And it's nothing is bolded. So I don't have any vocab in here. So I go and read the first section, first chunk of it. Now, if there's a picture in your textbook, I would stop at that picture because that's the first point they're trying to make. And they keep reading. If there's a whole lot of chunk, then I read all of that and then study the picture. That makes sense, okay? So let's read. A qualitative comparison of acidity requires a comparison of the stability of negative charges. The following discussion will develop a methodological approach of comparing negative charges stability. Specifically, we will consider four factors: atom being bearing the charge, resonance, induction, and orbitals. Now this is important. They listed the 4 factors they're going to consider. So I'm going to write, this is important notes. So first what I do is I write the notes in a form of question. So I write, what are the 4 factors they consider during stability. Okay? And then I take my regular marker and write the answer down. But I know this is important because I took the blue one and wrote the question in it. Now these are my question. So after I find one question and one answer, I go on to the next point. Which atom bears the charge? The first factor involves comparing the atoms bearing negative charge in each conjugate base. For example, consider the structure of butane of pyranol. So I don't think this is an important point that they're trying to make, so I go on. In order to access the relative acidity of those 2 compounds, we must first depronate each of these compounds and draw the conjugate bases. Okay, I know how to. Now, they're telling me that I should know how to draw the conjugate bases. And I go back to my mirror. Do I know how to draw the conjugate bases? If yes, then I don't write it on my notes. If no, then I Google or watch a video or go to the index here about conjugate bases and see how to draw them. That's how you fully understand your notes or your textbook. Now I know how to draw conjugate bases, so I'm not going to go through that process. I go on. Now we compare these conjugate bases by looking at where the negative charge is located in each case. In the first conjugate base, the negative charge is located on the carbon atom, the second is located on the oxygen atom. So I'm going to say I'm going to write the question that they wrote. Which atom bears the charge? Now, as you heard, that this is a step process. So what I do is I number it and I leave arrows. Arrows because I know this is a step process that has multiple things to it and that I should know how to do. Now I don't write the whole thing out, I just say conjugate bases, the other step, where they are located. So I draw arrows when there is a process. Since this is organic chemistry, there is always a process of finding things. And then I draw arrows where there is a process. Now, do I need to draw the butane or the propanol molecule? No, because I already know how to draw it. So there's not always a reason to draw these molecules if you know how to draw them. Don't put on your notes what you don't need. Put on your notes what you need. Don't confuse yourself more if you're drawing these for no reason. That's going to confuse you. No, just put the important stuff on your notes to study later. To determine which of these is more stable, we must consider whether these elements are in the same row or in the same column of the periodic table. Okay? Now they go on the same row and same column. Now I don't need to draw this because I'm not going to memorize the periodic table, so I just so I don't need to draw that. Now we go on. I want to go to an example where there are a vocab term. So I'll tell you what to do if I can find any. Oh, here we go. So here's a section with vocab terms, and I found one right here. What I do is I don't have the same paper for vocab term. This is all for notes only. You can do that. You can have two separate papers for notes and for vocab, but I like to keep my notes on the same page. So what I do is, as I said earlier, I just write the whole thing in a red pen. So I say leveling effect, two dots, and a bullet point. Just to know, this is a vocab word, not a note. That it dictates the strongest base that can be present in any solvent. Now, for the vocab word, you can write it right here, or you can go through your sections and pull out the vocab word and write it first and then your notes. That depends on you. I just go with the flow, and whenever I get a vocab word, I write it down. Whenever I get a note, I write it down. That's just me. But the most important thing is you're writing your notes as a form of a question. As you read your content, and then you form a question from it. Now, whether that's like test-like questions, quiz-like questions, your questions, doesn't matter. You form a question and you write the answer. So when you're studying later, you can just cover the answer and just read the question and answer it. Now, sometimes I don't feel like writing at all, and what I do is type my notes. And this is my actual notes that I'm going to study for my test. But I typed it, and it's the same format as my written notes. It's just the vocab words are a different font and a different size, and they're not italicized, they're underlined and they're bolded. No, on my oh my god, I can't talk. On my notes that I print, I like to have bullet points for everything. It just looks nicer. That's why I like it. And these are my notes. They're not italicized or anything. Now, as you can see, these are 3 chapters worth of notes. Because I already have notes from the class, I don't need to extend that much on the notes. It's just that what I need is what the teacher didn't mention or they didn't emphasize on. That's what I write here. Now, some of them I don't even write the definition for. A dipole moment, I know what that is. I just mention it there. So when I'm studying, I know what that is and I say it. I do put pictures from online if I find any. And if I don't find good pictures that are on Google, I just put this picture 1 as an example, and I have a little note card that I didn't bring here, but I have a little note card with all the pictures on it, and I say picture 1, just like the textbook. Like this one is figure 2.2, I say picture 1 and I write it down just so I can see what is happening. And that's it. That's how I write my notes from the textbooks. Now you can either write them or type them or write them down on a sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. Just keep them safe, condense them, and don't make them that long. All right.
Bye guys, and if you like this video, please thumbs up and subscribe. And if you haven't watched my how to take notes video, it's really popular, it has like 300 views, please watch it, and I'll see you next time in another video. Bye.